MTN was born in Mandela-era South Africa, and to this day it's a brand driven by that distinctive optimism. A brand still defined by its original can-do attitude and its commitment to progress. From the first, a brand defined by more than talk, but action. When you hear that MTN, Africa's largest mobile telephone network, has become the first African brand to make it into the BrandZ Top 100 most valuable global brands, it's important to understand why. It's the latest chapter in the journey of Africa's emerging super brand, built on the phenomenon of a business that operates at the intersection of social change, culture and business. It's the story of mobile in Africa, and the role of Africa's biggest player in the category.
In a place where the challenges of infrastructure and environment have thrust millions of people into marginalization, mobile networks arrived like a secondary grid, connecting individuals and societies, providing the ability to communicate and access information. In Africa, the accessibility of basic voice telephony that we know and take for granted had a transformative effect on these people and countries.
And now, with new digital applications for third world consumer needs, the mobile web is increasingly geared to serve individuals and communities living in this so-called third world. So emphatic is the mobile phone's growing impact today that it's been hailed as Africa's silver bullet. But it wasn't always this way. Initially, mobile networks had contract-based services geared towards the wealthy. On a continent where formal employment is rare, mobile telephony was for the elite, and it looks set to stay that way. But new brand, MTN, rising out of an exuberant post-apartheid South Africa, had other ideas. MTN introduced Pay-as-you-go, Africa's first prepaid airtime service in 1996, and the mobile telcos have never looked back since. There's no question that making mobile telecommunications more accessible to more people, regardless of socio-economic circumstance, has driven the worldwide growth that we're seeing today. In 2011, when the United Nations declared access to the internet a fundamental human right, it was a recognition of the platform's ability to enrich lives. But the internet is just one of many ways in which mobile telephony is enriching lives. Mobile innovation is diverse and expansive. MTN is once again leading from the front, with innovations like telemedicine and voice-based apps like iCow and UJuicy, a mobile resource locator. Accessing the internet on your mobile phone is only part of the tale. Nowhere is the astounding utility of a mobile phone more apparent than in the rise of mobile money. This mobile network-based system allows customers to virtually wire cash to each other, from SIM card to SIM card, or from phone to phone. MTN Mobile Money has been launched in 13 countries. Mobile money is still in its infancy, but we're arguably looking at the future of money and financial transactions, and it's unfolding on the bustling streets of Africa. In Uganda alone, there are now 2 million mobile money customers, and only 500,000 banking customers in the formal sector. Only when marketing meets with social need do we start to see this kind of society-wide traction. At the heart of this African business was a clear vision, not just to spread and proliferate products or services, but to speed up the progress of the emerging world. Companies that deliver infrastructure, like mobile telephone networks, play a much bigger role than just in the marketplace. There are places on the continent where communities are yet to experience running water or electricity, yet they have access to an MTN village phone and therefore access to the world. Of the 21 markets it operates in, MTN is number 1 in more than half.
MTN is no ivory tower. This is a brand of the people, by the people, for the people. So much so that its original South African culture has been absorbed by a bigger, more expansive sense of a broader African expression. While other companies across the emerging world import Western experts to drive and define strategy, MTN is driven by local people with local insight, populated by the people it serves. MTN is not just a company. It is an emerging world community, united by the shared vision of enriching lives.
Through projects like Yellow Care, the MTN Foundation empowers all MTNers to enrich the communities they serve through health, education and community empowerment. In fact, MTN is the most significant social investor in many of its markets. MTN is also one of the biggest employers on the African continent, training local people to deliver on a global brand, yet keeping the company rooted and involved in society. For many outside of Africa, the 2010 FIFA World Cup, South Africa may have been their first contact with the MTN brand. But in truth, that triumphant spectacle was the culmination of a powerful brand story that spans a continent and has empowered a generation of Africans. A continent-wide campaign, Africa United, ran in MTN's Pan-African markets, mobilising individuals and communities. The 2010 FIFA World Cup, South Africa with MTN as first ever global sponsor from Africa. This brand was determined that this 2010 FIFA World Cup would be an African World Cup. The Africa United campaign outperformed campaigns from other major sponsors in several key markets. From Kampala to Kumasi, every MTN subscriber and every African knew this was their World Cup. Whilst in South Africa, the local Ayoba campaign did the same, galvanising the host nation. So much so that the word Ayoba will make its way into the next edition of the Oxford South African English Dictionary. MTN, the global, local brand with the substance and stature to represent a continent's dreams.
From its beginnings in South Africa, MTN now operates across 3 continents, in 21 countries and has over 170 million subscribers. MTN is now a pan-African company, indeed an emerging world company, as its 26,000 staff span 55 nationalities and it conducts its business in 5 languages.
It's a company of firsts. On the African continent, the list is endless. But perhaps the most important lesson in the MTN story is not one of innovation or of telephony, but a lesson about the convergence of business with societal change in developing countries. MTN is more than just talk. Through MTN, we learn that to succeed in these growing markets, it's necessary to have the spirit of a frontier settler, not a corporate bureaucrat with a slick party line. We learn that brand equals behaviour, not image. This is the MTN way, a way of doing business, a way of engaging with a customer, a way of seeing the world, and a way of building a brand with the limitless opportunity of today's emerging markets, where it's not what you say that counts, but what you do. So it gives me great pleasure to congratulate MTN on yet another first, the first African brand to be included in the BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Global Brands.